Good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Crummell. A rally for skill games legislation just wrapped up at the state capitol. This comes after the state Supreme Court ruled they have to be regulated. Our Barbara Barr live at the state capitol with more. Good afternoon, Barbara.
Good afternoon, James. Yes, small business owners, VFW managers, as well as lawmakers from both sides of the aisle were rallying here right on the Capitol steps in support of skill games and limited regulation and taxation. Joining me now is Tim Shawley from the VFW in Annville. And what kind of taxation would you support in light of the recent Supreme Court ruling as well as regulation?
Well, a 52% taxation is way too much, anything along that line. As I said earlier, I'd like to see the people who are making these regulations, if they want to give up 52% of their income and see how that leaves them. The money that our clubs, as far as the AMVETs, VFWs, the Legions, what we take in, that money goes back into the community. Whereas if you throw against like the casinos and things along that nature, what they're doing, I don't see their names supporting your local youth ball teams and sports and things along those natures. I don't see them supporting the local members of the community that hit hard times when they have a child that's sick and they can't even afford their own utilities. That's where we come in as far as our kinds of clubs. So we need a fair taxation. We had Senator Yall years ago support a 16%, a right of 16%, and they said it didn't get no traction.
And the governor mentioned that 52%. Also, Senator from your area, Chris Gebhardt, has supported perhaps in the 30s percent tax. Is that that's too high for you? How high would you go for a tax?
We'd be fine with a 20%. 20% would be fine. All right. Anything more than that is just too much. It doesn't make any sense to us.
How much do these games mean to your business?
Well, we would not be able to donate as much money or as often as we can to the local food banks and shelters and things along that nature. So it also means that I wouldn't be able to give my staff a higher wage like what we do now, all right? So it doesn't affect just the community, but as far as like our own staff, yes. It took us 50 years before we actually had enough money to remodel the building that we were in. So from 1972 to 2022, I'm sorry, it's how long it took us to be able to rebuild.
You optimistic a compromise can be reached here?
I believe a compromise can be reached if the legislators actually think about where their money is going or how this regulation will affect the communities that they live in and their fellow neighbors.
Tim, thanks very much for joining us at noon. Skill Games Rally. We'll have much more, of course, coming up later today on ABC 27 News. We'll have more reaction from lawmakers from both sides of the aisle. James, we'll send it back to you in the studio now.
And Barbara, I mean, this has been going on, this fight, for a very long time with the Supreme Court ruling that, these skill games are essentially the same as slot machines at a casino. So the casinos are saying they should be taxed the exact same.
And that's exactly right. There has been a battle back and forth between the casinos as well as the skill game operators trying to reach a compromise. Obviously, there are lawmakers that receive money from both of those entities, casinos and skill games. So it's kind of a delicate balance here. But the goal on both, at least from the skill games end of it, is to reach a lower tax rate than that 52% that's been thrown out there, or even perhaps 35%. They say they need it to keep going and keep their prices low for customers. We'll see where this debate ends. 120 days the Supreme Court gave the legislature to come up with a regulation and taxation plan. Back to you.
All right, Barbara Barr live for us there at the state capitol. Thank you very much for that report this afternoon.
Hi, I'm Eric Finkenbinder from ABC 27. We're excited to announce the new ABC 27 News Plus app. Live stream newscasts or watch content on demand. This is different than the ABC 27 app on your smartphone. You can check this out at home, and it's very easy to use. With a Fire Stick, go to the homepage, scroll down to search. From there, enter ABC 27. Move over to the apps, and there we are. Click the icon and install. It's just that easy.